paperwork, and I had to look it up because I thought, huh, interesting. And it meant ready to fight it, drop the hat. You know, when I had to give his eulogy, that's how I started out. I started out with pugnacious. Here I am today. But that guy also, when I was cleaning out his things, I found my baby feet in his dresser. So there were a lot of sides to him. And most of all, what most people remember is what a storyteller he was. But I first told him that I was pregnant with Ellie. We brought him a big tote full of kindling to ease the blow. And it was funny because I was bringing him kindling the night that I found him 6 months ago. But after I told him that I was pregnant with Ellie, he actually turned it around, and somehow, as we left, Kevin was like, how did that happen? We told him that you're pregnant, and then he ended up launching into a story about he punched some guy in the face in Jordan's drive-in parking lot in Ellsworth. Like, I'm like, that's okay, that's smooth, that's good. So a lot of people saw him one way, and I saw him as another, being a side. My friends remember being little, not wanting to come over and play at my house because he used to make them stack wood. But after he died, there was a girl that used to be in this town that I didn't really know at the time. You know, we kind of picked on her, and she got a hold of me over Facebook, and she said that he was her rescuer and her angel. She had an extraordinarily abusive father who really tried to kill them. And when she was hiding under the bed, he would be the one come trudging through the door and saving her. And she later told me that it was her, my dad, and Bob Peacock Sr. and Howard Shaw that snuck them out of town. They just disappeared, and they were the ones that funded that. They funded her escape from an abusive man, and they went on the lam. So he was a rescuer in many different ways. Last birthday was when my car decided the transmission was going to die on my way back from Ellsworth, and it did as I was going 60 miles an hour, just about into Matthias, at dark. I had a track phone that I bought units for in Bangor, but had not put them on yet. I had 2 units left in the Blueberry Barrens. Oh my God, I can't call AAA because I won't have enough minutes to actually get through to them. My one shot was to call Dad, and he answered, and I said, I'm right here. You put the safe on the side of the road. I need you. He's like, I'll be there. And that was it. He was. My friend Sharon and I drove all over the country in this beat up 1978 Ford LTD. Never really broke down. Nothing wrong with it.
I was there.
Yeah, she was there. She remembered that car, good old TJ. And of course, it was fine. And then when I finally drove back into Maine, where I right down to the Black Woods. And who did I call but Dad? Named up. And then about a week or so ago, I was in Calais, and I thought I heard something go funny with my car. And my first impulse, call Dad. And it's like, oh, and then I call Dad when I break down, you know? He lost his felt in so many ways. But really, when you look back on him, he really was the hero that a lot of people remember. He literally pulled babies from burning buildings. He pulled people out of wrecks. He sewed them back together. He brought them back to life. And he did that in this town, in this small town, and he affected so many people. And one of his favorite stories, because of course when you're in that sort of tragedy all the time, you have to make light of it. And there was one call, I've heard this story so many times, I have to include it in his eulogy. Him and Bob Peacock Sr. in the dead of winter got called out to a suicide, and I apologize. I mean, this man's family's here. But he was in the woods, and he shot himself, and he went backwards over a log and froze that way. And they got called out, and they had to trudge through waist-high snow to get up to the mountain to this guy. And then they had to get the slide up there, and then they had to get his arms on, and they had to put him down and wrap him down, and they're trudging him back down this hill. Me and Bob Peacock Sr. looked at each other, and they thought it was an easier way to do it. And they climbed on. They rode
Boy, that was something.
towers came down in New York City, 9/11. And he saw it happen on the TV, and he saw the first tower came down, and he was on his bike going before the second tower was even down. He knew. And he knew with his training that he could help, and he did, and he didn't think twice about it. And he rode all night, and he got into the city, and he went in and he searched the wreckage, and he breathed all that stuff into his lungs, and he was there for days, but, you know, he was a rescuer, that was his nature. So we certainly had a different childhood, having Dad as our dad. Whenever he would give first aid classes, for the dummies. Before they ever had Annie's, we'd be in Lynch. Jamie got hauled out of the gravel pit out the road on a stretcher up over the side with lifts and ladders, and I remember being so jealous. And we had the seafarer, which shaped our lives to no end.
Don't move around too much.
He was out there every summer with the whales. And because of that, he and I got to spend our days, our really golden, beautiful summers together. And I would cue him on all the stories that he wanted to tell. Hey Dad, do you remember the time? That was my job. And he'd go off and do his thing. And his favorite expression out there was, if you can't dazzle them with knowledge, baffle them with bullshit. When I was little, he used to make me and Jamie tie bowlins, blindfolded, mittens on our hands, socks actually, so we could do it blindfolded in case we were ever out on the water in the dark with mittens on our hands. And I really didn't think much of it, you know. And then one day, I was with a friend who was applying for a job to take a schooner from Key West up to Maine. And I'm sitting in the back, minding my own business, and the guy who owned the schooner and this other person are talking. And I just kind of looked up and I threw that in. Hey, I can tie a bowline. I said, blindfolded with socks on my hands. And the guy was separate. He wasn't too much. I said, hey, do you want to go too? I said, believe me, I'm a one-boat wonder. I said, I'm not a sailor at all. He goes, that's okay, you can prove. Or you can be a cook or something. And I did. I got to go from Key West to Maine because my father was crazy. So when Ellie and Jax came along, they loved him so much, and he loved them so much, and they loved him so much. And when he pulled into the dooryard, they would yell Grampy, and he would come in, and he would bend down, and Jackson heads up, and then he turns in like this and scoots in for a hug. And he would make Ellie pumpkin pie, his famous pumpkin pie, every week. And we only got it at Thanksgiving. And he taught Ellie this, the whole I love you. And she still does it. And he did that every time he left. And I'm glad that I found him dead instead of having to watch him die. Like the way he lived the love of his life, that was the worst thing for him in the whole world. And I think it's good that other people know that he died quickly, because if he had gotten a terminal prognosis, he would have taken others with him. There were certain people, he loved the movie Gran Torino. And he always said that. That's a little quote. And when he came home from the surgery, he stopped in Millbridge to brag to a friend of his who had the same surgery that he was driving home. And the guy said, well, what are you driving your car? I sure as hell like pushing it. And my Aunt Donna, who knew him best, so I had to call and tell. She said, well, he died of complications of being Bush. Not only that, I'm glad he died in Lubeck instead of Bangor. He could have died in Bangor and I would have been with Shrinkers. And instead I was with the people who loved him and who loved me. And he died and he was in his bathrobe and his slippers. He was comfy. And one of the people on scene said, well, I'm glad he had his clothes on, otherwise it would have been a cross between, you know, Gorillas in the Mist and Planet of the Apes. And I said, well, you know, I'm glad that we were all able to laugh that night and that my girls came for me and everybody was here and that was special. And the night he'd come home, he surprised me and I went in, he was sitting in his chair. I said, you look happy to be home. And he said, you have no idea. I said, you want to make your fire? Well, if you want want to, yeah, go ahead. So I sat down. I had no kindling. I sat there with an axe and a hammer, chipping off kindling, and talking to him, and he's quacking at me, and I'm quacking back. Just as fine about the Quaddy Dolphin of all things, and how, you know, just have to go for it and don't let anything stop you. And I got up when I was done, and I asked him if he needed anything, and I gave him a hug, and I said, I am so glad you're home. We were out of the woods, and he was back. And he gave me a hug and said, me too. And it was just pure. It was pure and beautiful. And that was the last time I saw him. And when I was a little girl, when my grandmother died, he said, you know, you really can't be sad for her because she's in heaven now. And I'm like, well, what's so great about heaven? I was 6, I think. And he said, well, in heaven you can have anything you want. And I said, wow. I said, you know, can I go to heaven? He goes, when you're old, he says, we all go to heaven, you know, and then we can all have. And I'm like, can I have a go-kart in heaven? And he's like, yeah, I suppose so. So I suppose Buster's up in heaven now. And for him, heaven is filled with ladies, fine and charming. And he's with Louise, his love, lady, by his side, watching over all of us. I love